Hi everyone, today in this video lesson we'll be talking about review of Python basics. Now if you remember, Python was developed by Guido van Rossum in the year 1991. Now what is this Python? It is a programming language. Now why do we need this programming language? We need this programming language to communicate, just like your normal language, like your English language. Why do we use English language? We use this English language or Hindi language to communicate with one person to another. If you want to communicate to one person, then we need the medium of language, that is English. Same is the case if you want to communicate with computer. We need some language that is called Python programming language. Now in Python we can work in two ways. Number one is interactive mode and number two is script mode. Now what is this interactive mode? Interactive mode of working means you type a command, one command at a time, and the Python executes the given command then and there and gives you the output. So in interactive mode you type a statement or a command and it will give you the output directly. For example, if you type 2 plus 5 in front of the Python prompt, it will give you the result as 7. Now you know that 2 plus 5 is 7, so Python prompt will give you the result 7. So in order to work in interactive mode, you have to follow the following process. Or in order to open the interactive mode, first you have to click the start button, go to all programs and go to the Python folder and click on IDLE. That is nothing but a Python GUI. Right, let me show you what is this interactive mode. This is a start button. Since I'm using Windows 10, all right, I don't have all programs here, but I can directly go to this folder, go to, this is my Python 3.8, click on that and click on IDLE. Once you get, you will see the screen. The screen that you see is nothing but a, this is in interactive mode. Suppose if I write 2 plus 5 and if I hit enter, it will give us the output directly 7. But what happens in this interactive mode? You cannot save a program. Now in order to save a program, we have another type of mode through which we can work with Python. That is nothing called script mode. So we'll see what is a script mode now. Script mode, working in script mode. Now if you want to save all your programs in the form of program files and want to see all output lines together rather than sandwich between successive commands, then we use this script mode. Now in interactive mode, as I've said, you cannot save commands entered by you in the form of a program. Now in order to open the script mode, you have to do the following ways. Click the start button, all programs, and click on Python folder with version 3.6x, whatever version you're having, then click on IDLE. Once you have clicked on IDLE, it is similar to the interactive mode. Now once you open this interactive mode, go to the file and click on new file. All right, click on new file. Here's a mistake is there. Click on new file here. Click on a new file here. Now in a new window that opens, the type the command you want to save in the form of program. Now click on file. If you want to save the program, click on the file and click on the save menu button and then save the file with extension .py. Now if you want to run the program, in order to run the program, click the run menu on the menu bar and click on run module, then you will able to run the program in a script mode. Let me show you now. Now what you're seeing here in the screen is nothing but a interactive mode. Now if you want to go to script mode, click on file, click on new file And once you go into this new file, the screen that you're seeing now is nothing but a script mode. You have entered a script mode. Suppose if you want to type something, right? A print. This is the first program for class 12. All right, now I've written this program. Now I cannot run the program directly. I need to save the program. So how to save the program? Click on file, save. So it will tell us where to save the program. Now I'm saving this program in D drive. I'll write my file name as test. Now normally you need to put .py as an extension, but here save as type is already given .py and my file name is test. Once you save the program, your program has been saved. Now how to check whether your program has been saved or not? Observe here. Now my file name has been given here, test. What is the extension? .py. And what is this? This is the part where I have saved the program. I have saved the program in D drive. Under D drive I have software files, and under software files I have gone to Python, and under Python I have saved the file name test.py. Now in order to run the program in script mode, now these are called the menu bars. We have file, edit, format, run, options, window, help. These are nothing but a menu bar here. Now in order to run the program, click on the run from the menu bar. Once you click the run on the menu bar, options will come out. There are run module, customize, check module, Python shell, but you have to click on this run module. Once you click on this run module, whatever program you have written, the program will be displayed here. So this is the first program for class 12. See, the output is being displayed with the help of this print command. This is how you work in the script mode. Now let's see what is variable and data types. Now a variable is like a container that stores values that you can access or change. The purpose of using a variable is to allow the stored values to be used later on. Any object or variable in Python is a name that refers to a value at a particular memory location and possesses three components: a value, an identity, and a type. All right, what is a variable? Say for example, if I write here, if I write something here, a is equal to 5. I'm writing here a is equal to 5 here. Now what is this a? This a is nothing but a variable. This a is nothing but a variable, or we call this one as identifier. We call this one as identifier. Now what happens when I give a is equal to 5? All right, so what happens here? Now when I write a is equal to 5, this 5 will be stored in a computer. All right, this 5 will be stored in a computer. Now this 5 will have some memory address location. Say for example, if you click a picture from your phone, all right, if you click a picture from your phone, now whatever picture is there, now this picture, suppose this is a picture, this is a picture. Now this picture will be stored somewhere in your phone, right? Somewhere in your phone, maybe in your memory card. So there is some address location for this picture. Same is the case here in Python. If I write a is equal to 5, Now this value 5 will be stored somewhere in a computer system which will have certain address. Say for example this address is 101. This is the address, and here A is referring to a value 5. A is referring to a value 5. Now this 5 is located in address, say for example 101. So this A is nothing but a variable, or an, we call it identifier, and this 5 is nothing but a value. This 5 is nothing but a value here. Now what is a value? It represents any number or letter or a string. To assign any value to a variable, we use assignment operator. Now to assign any value to a variable, we use assignment operator. Now what is this identity? An identity, it refers to the address of a variable in memory which does not change once created. To retrieve the address, that is identity of a variable, the command we use is id and whatever the variable name you have given. Now number 3, a type. We are not required to explicitly declare a variable with its type. Whenever we declare a variable with some value, Python automatically allocates its relevant data type associated with it. Let me give you an example about these things. Now if I write here A is equal to 5. Now as I said, if A is equal to 5, what is happening? This A is nothing but a variable or an identifier, and 5 is nothing but the value. This is the value. How we can get the value? By using this operator symbol, this equal operator symbol. So what happens when I write A is equal to 5? So this value 5 will be stored in a computer system with some particular address. Now what is this identity? Identity is used to retrieve the address where it is stored. So suppose here, suppose I've written here 5. Now if you want to check where this value 5 is stored, say for example it is stored in some address. Address can be any. So I'm writing here 101 is an address, and here value A is referring to this 5, which will refer to this address 101 here. Now if I write here A is equal to 5, if I press enter, and if I write ID is used to identify the address location of a value. Now where the value 5 is located in address, say for example 5, ID of 5. If I press enter, it is giving some address like 16948694888. So this is the address allocated to the value 5. Now you see what is the type of this A. All right, same if you write ID of A, ID of A will be same as 5. Why? Because A is referring to a value. Here what is happening inside? Now this is value is given 5 here. Now A is referring to a value 5. A is referring, all right, A is referring to a value 5, and this 5 is having some address. This 5 is having some address. That address is nothing but this one, right? This is the address of value 5 where it is allocated. Now since A is referring to value 5 which has certain address, that is the reason why A is also having the same address as value 5. A is having the same address as value 5 here. Now ID, or we call it identity, is used to find the address location of a value or a variable. Now what is type? Now type is used to identify the type of data types. What are the data types? Say for example, we have integer, we have floating point numbers, we have complex number, we have tuple, we have dictionary, we have list, and many more are there. All right. So if I write a is equal to 5, now what is this 5? This 5 is a number. Now again, number of many types. You have integer, you have floating point number, you have two types. So we have to check whether a is equal to 5. Now what is this 5? This 5 is a number. Now this 5 is nothing but an integer. So where it is stored in a variable named a is referring to value 5. So when I write type a, when I write this type a, what will happen? And if I press enter, it will give us the class that it is an integer. Now if I write a is equal to, say, some name ram, a is equal to ram. Now observe here, I am putting this under double inverted comma, opening and closing in double inverted comma. Now whenever you type something like this in double or single inverted comma, that is nothing but a string. So the class type, if you want to check whether the type of a, what is the type of a here? Now type of a should be string. It is giving as class is string here. Now if you want to check the id of ram, all right, so id of, to identify where it is located, where the address is located, you press enter. Okay, it is giving us error because I haven't put any double inverted comma. id of ram, see here, ram is allocated in different id as compared to value 5. So always remember the values, any values, the address allocation will be different from different number if there are different numbers are there. So this is about the value type and the identity of a variable. Now what is this data types? Let's see what is this data types. Now Python offers following built-in core data types. When I say built-in, it is already available in Python, that is available in Python. So number one is number, string, list, tuple, and dictionary. These are the built-in data types available in Python. So there are 5 built-in core data types in Python. First one, what is an integer? Now integer are whole numbers such as 0, 5, 38, 10, 2020, 220, etc. These are nothing but the numbers. Now they have no fractional parts. When I say fractional parts, that means 5 by 2, 38.2, or 10.2. These are nothing but the fractional parts. So any number which doesn't have a fractional part, we can call this one as a integer. Integers are represented in Python by numeric values with no decimal point. So integers are number which doesn't have any decimal point. So suppose if you have number as 2.5, then this number 2.5 will not be considered as decimal. It will not be considered as an integer. It will considered as another kind of data types. Integers can be positive or negative. Example, plus 1, 2, 3 and minus 1, 2, 3. This is about what is integer. Now let's go for next. Under numbers, there are, like I said, there are 2 types. One is integer and one is floating point numbers. So a number having fractional part is called a floating point numbers. For example, 3.14 is a floating point numbers. Now the decimal point signals that it is a floating point number. Now take the number 12. Number 12 is an integer and 12.0 is a floating point numbers. Now floating point numbers can be written in two forms. Number one, in fractional form, just example like 4.0, 0.000532, 4.0, and we have 1 2 3 4.456. all right, and we can express in exponent notation. So these are in exponent notation: 3.5076 E03, and these are the numbers. All right, so this is how you express the floating point number. Now floating point numbers represent real numbers which are used for measurable quantities like distance, area, temperature, etc., and typically having fractional part. So suppose you want to know the distance from your home to school, or your home to your friend's home. So distance cannot be exactly in integer. Sometimes it can be in a fractional number or floating point number. That's why we use these floating point numbers in distance, in measuring quantities like area. Now temperature, take the temperature. If you see the temperature today, it will not be exactly like 30 degrees Celsius. It will be like 31.2, 33.4 or something like this. So we always use these floating point numbers for measuring quantities. Now let me show you this. Now if I write here a is equal to 12. Now 12 is a number, it is not having any decimal number. So if I write here type of a, all right, type of a, it will give us the class type is integer. Now suppose if I write b is equal to 12.0. now since it is having some decimal number after 12, that is 0.0, if you're having decimal number after any number, then we call this one as floating point number. Say for example, if you want to check whether the type of b, what is the type of b, if you want to check, you can check by writing command called type, and if you write here b, it will give us the answer as float. So any decimal number is nothing but a float. Now even the fractional part is also a decimal, or we call it as a floating point number. Why? Let me give you examples here. So suppose if I write here 12 divided by say suppose 5, what will be the output if you write 12 divided by 5? It will give us something 2.4. so it is in decimal part, it is in decimal part. That is why it is giving us the output as 2.4. Now let us see another type of data type here. Now this is complex number. What is a complex number? Now Python represents complex number in the form of a plus bj. To represent imaginary number, Python uses j or capital J in place of traditional I. Now normally in class 8, 9 or 10, you have studied in mathematics a plus bi, but in Python we replace this traditional I with j. So in Python, value of j is square root of -1. So consider the following examples where a and b are storing two complex numbers in Python. A is equal to 0 plus 3.1 j, b is equal to 1.5 plus 2j. Now the above complex numbers has real component as 0 and imaginary component as 3.1. Now if you see in b is equal to 1.5 and plus 2j, so which one is having j here? Value 2. The one which is having value as j, right, with j, is nothing but the imaginary part, and the one which is not having the value with j is nothing but a real part. So here 1.5 is a real part and 2 is nothing but a imaginary part. Now Python displays complex number in parentheses when they have non-zero in their real part. So if you have non-zero value in the real part, say for example b is equal to 1.5 plus 2j, it has non-zero value, there is no zero value, so it is a non-zero value, so it will display in parentheses. Say for example here, if I write b is equal to 1.5 plus 2j, so if I write here print b, see here it is giving us the output in parentheses, under parentheses 1.5. but if it is a non-zero value, say a is equal to 0 plus 5j, here 0 is nothing but the real part and 5 is nothing but the imaginary part. Now if I press enter and if I print the value of a, now observe here in the value of a we have 0 value, so it is not giving us in parentheses. So we can say that if there's a non-zero value is there, what happens if a non-zero value is there, it will give us the output in parentheses with parentheses. But if there's a zero value is there, it will give us the output without parentheses. Let me exit the program for now. Now what is this? A boolean. Now boolean, this represents the truth values false and true. Now boolean type is a subtype of plain integers, and boolean values false and true behave as value 0 and 1. To get the boolean equivalent of 0 or 1, you can type bool 0 or bool 1. Python will return true or false here. Let me show you here now. So if I write here bool 0, now 0 represents in boolean as false and 1 represents value as true. It will give us the output false here. This is boolean. 0 represents false and 1 represents true. So this is about boolean. Now where do we use this boolean? We use this boolean while comparing the values. While comparing the values, we use these booleans, or in other cases are also there where we use boolean. Next we have none. Now what is this none? This is a special data type with an unidentified value. It signifies the absence of a value in a situation, represented by none. Now Python doesn't display anything when we give a command to display the value of a variable containing value as none. Now what is this value none? None is nothing. None means it is nothing. Say for example here, let me give you in interactive mode here. What is this value? None. So if I type here value is equal to say none, alright, press enter, it will not show us anything. But if I want to print, if I write print value, it will give us the output as none. None means basically it is nothing. None means nothing, nothing here. Now I've written value is equal to none. If I write here just a value, it will show us nothing. But if there's a non-value number other than number, suppose if I write a is equal to 5, a is equal to 5, and if I write a, it is giving us the output. But the case is different with none. All right, none will not show us a value. If I write here a is equal to none, press enter, and if I write a, it will not show anything to us. But if I give a print command, it will give us the output none here. Sequence. What is a sequence? A sequence is an ordered collection of items indexed by integer. The three types of sequence that the types are available in Python are string, list, and tuple. So we have string, list, and tuple as an data types of sequence. Now what is a set? Set is an unordered collection of values of any type with no duplicate entry. It is immutable. Now you'll know what is immutable later, or you have studied in class 11 what is immutable. Immutable means the value which cannot be changed is called immutable. Mapping. Now this data type is unordered and mutable. When I say mutable means that it can change. Dictionary in Python fall under mapping. A dictionary represents data in key value pairs and access using keys which are immutable. Dictionary is enclosed in a curly brackets. So let me give you a short what is a string, what is a list. Say for example, if I write a is equal to under double inverted comma 12, so anything which is other under double or single invert comma is treated as a string here. Now if I write type of a, will give us the output as it is a string. Now if I write b is equal to under this bracket say 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 under this square bracket, if I press enter, and if I write type of b, it is a list. So anything under square bracket, if you write anything, then we term this one as a list here. Now if I write here c is equal to under parenthesis 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, if I press enter, and if you write type of c, it is giving us the output as tuple. So the data type, if you're writing under parenthesis, then the type is a tuple. All right, this is a tuple. So this is about the data types. So we'll discuss the next topic in the next class. All right.